look at your career in business as a way of ministering right there in the marketplace. And when I say that, I'm not talking about witnessing to your coworkers, although, you know, hopefully that'll be part of what you're doing. And I'm not merely talking about ethical behavior, although, again, I hope that that's part of what we're talking about. What I'm talking about is more of a worldview that says that I'm called to the marketplace, that God has a purpose for me to work where I am, and that I can impact the kingdom from within a business perspective. Not that, and frankly, that I am in full-time ministry, and my ministry is not to the people of my church, or the ministry is not going to be towards this student or that college or whatever, but my ministry is to the people who I encounter in my workplace and the customers who I encounter in my workplace. And to take that kind of perspective, that it impacts excellence. You know, Scripture says, whatever you do in word or deed, do everything in the name of the Lord. So that as I approach my work, I approach it with excellence, that I treat people with dignity and respect, that I treat people with compassion. Before I came to McDonald's, I was working in full-time ministry for an organization called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. So I was working on college campuses and training and discipling Christian students there on everything from how to have a quiet time to how to share their faith. Excuse me. And doing things in order to try to impact the campus for Christ. And as part of that, I had to raise support. I went around and told people what I did, and they would then make out a monthly check to InterVarsity in order to support my ministry. Well, when I left and I came to the family business, which was McDonald's, one of those supporters called me and was bold enough to say what probably a lot of them were thinking was, how could you do that? How could you leave a ministry that had kingdom significance and where you were having a real impact and leave that in order to sell hamburgers? You know, it didn't make any sense to him. And how can you go from being the salt of the world to salting the fries? So, and I just had to say, Wayne, you have no idea what I do. I have way more influence and reach a group of people that I never had the opportunity to reach when I was in full-time ministry. You know, God has blessed me with the ability to rub elbows with people who desperately need Him in the marketplace and who aren't otherwise being reached in any way. And it's an exciting place to be. One recommendation, if you're looking for a book on it, Going Public with Your Faith by Peel and Larimore. Really good book. Talks about some of the myths around faith in the marketplace, that it's illegal to share your faith at work, that cultures will frown on it, and how to deal with that, what is legal and what's not, so you can't discriminate based on faith. You can't, either in hiring or promotion, but that doesn't mean you can't talk about it. Two quick stories about ways in which I found to share my faith at work, and I hesitate to do this because I don't want to set myself up as St. David, but I think it'll give you a little sense for ways in which your faith can impact your work. I told you that one of the things that McDonald's does is they provide me with a consultant, and one of the things the consultant does is he looks over my income statement regularly. And he'll say things like, hey, your food cost is a little high. Can I come down and help you out? Maybe there's ways that you're wasting food that you shouldn't be. Or maybe he says, the amount that you spend on uniforms is really low, and it shows because your crew are looking kind of shabby. You need to open up the wallet and get them a little bit better uniform and that kind of thing. So one time my consultant comes down, and he's not a believer, and he said, your miscellaneous income is really high, and why is that? Miscellaneous income is stuff that money that I get for something other than selling food and beverages. So in my case, like we'll sell our cardboard on the secondary market. So, you know, usually $25, $40 a month, something like that you can get in miscellaneous income. But one of the things that we do is we provide workers' compensation for employees. So if an employee's hurt, they can get it paid for, and you pay into a fund. And hopefully you don't have a whole lot of injuries among your employees, and if they didn't have to pay out a lot at the end of the year, you get a check back. And the tendency is to overpay during the year, kind of for worst case scenario, and then you get a check back at the end of the year. And the check's kind of nice. It's usually between $5,000 and $10,000. So I take that money, which was a business expense, and put it back into the company, and the accountant put it under miscellaneous income. So the consultant says, how come miscellaneous income's so high? And I said, well, the workers' comp check went in there. And he said, well, do you know that most owners don't do that? Most owners put that money in their pocket, which is absolutely true. Money has come back now. I put it in as a business expense. When the check comes back, if I cash that and put it in my pocket, I just got $10,000 that I don't have to pay any income tax on. It's called laundering. It's illegal. It's also almost impossible to track. And so I had the opportunity to say, so I don't want to tell them, well, you know, I did that because I'm a Christian, and it sounds kind of holier than thou, and I don't want to kind of put other people down. I said I made a promise that I'd do that. And he said, to Martha? And I said, no, that's one of the promises I made to God. I said that if I'm going to be in business, and I feel like the Lord's provided me with business, that I'll do everything I can to run that business ethically. So he didn't understand. He thought I was crazy, but I felt better about it. So, second example is one that any of you can do, and I would encourage you to do in your summer jobs or anything like that, is that I take a list of the employees who work for me at the beginning of every month, and take it home, and most of the time I have about 100 employees. That goes up in the summertime, it goes down in the winter, but that's about what it is. So I pray for 3 or 4 employees a day. Simple thing, it's not difficult, and like I said, something you can do when you're working summer, but it changes the way you look at people. When you're lifting people up to the Father, you know, I don't want to say, Father, I just reamed that person out, but please bless them. You know, that dignity and respect that I talked about carries over. It also has changed me in that I also don't want to go in prayer and say, I have no idea what's going on in Alexa's life, but just bless her, God. So I make more of a point of finding out from Alexa, you know, what's going on, so that when her name comes up this month, I'll have something to say as far as praying. The challenge for me this year, my growing edge, is that I'm getting a little bit bolder with that. And as I talk to employees, I've been saying, you know, so Alexa says, yeah, I'm just having a hard time balancing going to school and working and my family and everything else. And so I'm saying, you know, I pray for everybody here once a month. Would you mind when I pray, if I pray about that? Nobody's refused me yet. So it's just been another way, in going public with your faith, what they call flying your faith flag. Just putting it out there. You're not being condemning. You're not putting people on the spot. It's not sitting down and giving people the 4 spiritual laws or anything like that. It's just identifying yourself as a believer and saying that you have compassion on people, and that your faith motivates that compassion. So I'll stop there. We have a few minutes for any questions on franchising or on marketplace ministry, on McDonald's. Please don't ask me about TFAs. No. You can ask me about TFAs if you want to. Yep. I did. I was first in my